Today we're doing a ride-along vlog, and the vehicle we're in, as you've seen, is a 1967 Beetle. Now, this Beetle is very near and dear to me for multiple reasons. This was one of my first cars ever. It was my daily driver for about 2 years of my life, and when I got, I don't want to say, lack of a better word, tired of it, I ended up handing it off to my parents, and because I was going to sell it and they didn't want to see me sell it, and so they were like, hey, don't get rid of it, we'll keep it in the family. And for the last about 12 years, maybe more, maybe less, I don't know, without doing hard math, ballpark 12 years, it sat. It might have been driven, once every couple years. It would be started every once in a while, but mainly it just kind of sat and rusted away a little bit in the driveway of my parents' house. Now, me having all these random projects and tinker toys around, I started getting the itch for another toy and another project, mainly, and I wanted something that was a manual transmission. So I started perusing Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and Auto Trader and all the normal, looking for something cheap and to fun, have fun with, work on, turn a wrench on. And I had completely forgot about this car, pretty much. It out of sight, out of mind. I don't live at my parents' house anymore. I have my own house, so thinking about this Beetle was not in the forefront of my mind. And my buddy Blackwood, which you've seen in multiple videos and I've talked about, his wife wanted something fun to jog around in, and he thought of the Beetle. So he goes to my parents, asks to borrow the Beetle for a while. Of course, it's just sitting there, so they say, sure, do what you will. He brings it home, does a couple little things on it to get it running, and then runs it around town for a while. And while he's doing that, he's also searching for a toy to play with, and he finds a Triumph Herald. Now, I'm not sure if you know what a Triumph Herald looks like or nothing, but it's a cute little two-door convertible. It's an awesome little car, but he finds that and ends up acquiring it and says, look, I don't have space, time, or energy or money to do both Alice, which is this car, and Herald, which is the Triumph, to work on them both, get them fixed up. So I'm going to give the Beetle back to your parents. Because he was attempting to buy the Beetle at one point, and I was perfectly fine with that. I wanted to see somebody get her, take care of her, fix her up, drive around. When I found out that he wasn't going to keep her and he was going to give her back, I said, well, hold on. I want a tinker toy. I want something I can fix up and drive around and have fun. I want something that's a manual transmission. And this car has very, deep sentimental value. And I had put her in my back pocket for a while, not thinking about it. But the day I went over and I was watching Andrew, Blackwood's young son, I ended up sitting in it, and it brought back memories. And I said, man, I really do miss this little car. So when time came to give it back, I said, don't do it. I'll take it. So I told my parents, look, Alice isn't coming home with you. She's coming home with me, and I'm keeping her. And they said, good, whatever, So I took her home, and I've done some things, and you'll see some videos here. But mainly it is, I want her back in my life. And I'm happy that she's back. Now, it took a while to get her running. I had to replace the carburetor, I had to replace the fuel filter, I had to replace some fuel lines. What else did we replace? The belt, the main drive belt. And there's some stuff that needs to be changed, and I have a whole stock load of parts ready to go. The problem is I don't have anywhere to work on her, and I'm not like a shade tree mechanic. I need a place that I can, dismantle without getting rained on, and, not worry about things getting wet, and, it's a lot of stuff to worry about at the moment. And, so I'm waiting for a spot to open up in Andrew's garage. He said that he was willing to help me work on her to get her back running. I mean, obviously, he's just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to working and turning wrenches. So I am very looking forward to that part. But sorry, I paused because I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to run anybody over down here. Here we go. We've reached our first destination. All right, nice and quiet. So this is going to be our new project car. I know I did a series of videos for Project CVPI where we worked on the Crown Vic, and I loved it. And I'm hoping to do the same thing here with Alice. The Crown Vic didn't have a name, but Alice has had a name since day one. When I don't remember if I was 16 or 17. I wasn't more than 18 because I ended up buying my second Crown Vic when I was 19, and I had this car for over 2 years by the time I got my second Crown Vic. So I had to be 17. We'll just ballpark 17. I bought this from a friend that was a neighbor to my boss. So he had it. I don't know how long he had it before, but he's the one that painted it green. He's the one that did the modifications to it. It has some very specific modifications. If you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't see them. The first thing being the quarter windows. He took the little quarter windows that flap in. He took those out and made a solid pane. All the seams where the fenders meet the body have all been smoothed and bondoed to make it look more like a Carmen Ghia, because Carmen Ghias didn't have any seams. The deck lid, the engine cover, whatever you want to call it, we call it in the Volkswagen world a deck lid, but the engine cover has 4 louvers in it that he put in because he was expecting the engine to need more air, because it's not the original engine for the 67. It's an upgraded engine. It's somewhere between 1600 and 1700 cc's, and so he was expecting it to need more air than the natural louvers would give it. That's one of the things we're going to change. I don't really care for those louvers in the deck lid, so I acquired a used but rust-free deck lid from California, and it got shipped about a month ago or so. So over the winter, I've had Alice. She's been sitting off to the side, and that whole time I've just been ordering parts and ordering parts and ordering parts. When I first acquired Alice from my parents, it still had the same tires on it that were on it when I bought it when I was 17. They were all dry rot and worn out, so I ended up going back to period rims and tires. The rims that were on it before were mag rims. I lost all the footage of me changing out the tires to the tires that are on it now, because my dog ate my memory card, my puppy. I didn't know she got it, and by the time I found it, it was literally, there was nothing left to it. It was a couple plastic pieces in my hand. Let's see. So it's got brand new rims, wheels, and tires on it now. Let's talk about the negatives. So as of right now, I have the horn button, but it's down here. Here's the horn button. I took it off because the horn didn't work to start with, and I was going to take the steering wheel off to get to the steering column, to the shifter, or the turn signal stick. because it's broken at the moment. It doesn't click anymore. It's supposed to click for the high beams, and it doesn't click, and I got to take it off and either rebuild it or replace it. I do have a replacement that I got from Latvia that took forever to get here from there. Let's see. So it doesn't have a horn at the moment. It doesn't have turn signals at the moment because the stick is broken. It doesn't have any brake lights at the moment. I know you're thinking, well, why are you driving it around? I'm sticking to the back roads. I'm being safe, but at the same time, I want to get her out. I want to get her drive around. I wanted to show you guys how she rides. I thought it was the brake light sensor, you know, the actuator sensor, which is on the master cylinder, but turns out that the switch is getting power and sending power when it's supposed to. When you hit the brake pedal, it, you know, the circuit closes and it sends power to the brake lights that are supposed to work. I don't know why they don't work. There's no brake lights, so there's got to be a wiring issue between the master cylinder and the brake lights. So I've gone and acquired a brand new full wiring harness for the whole car because my headlights don't work. It was another thing. I have running lights in the front and back, but I have no brake lights and no headlights and no turn signals. Other than those wires, I think everything else works. The windshield wipers work. I replaced the windshield wiper arms and blades, but the one isn't tight enough yet. I need to work on that. That's it. Oh, the bumpers need to be replaced. The gas tank needs to be replaced. The gas tank is slowly leaking fuel. It's just from rot. So I have a brand new gas tank to go in it. I have brand new bumpers. The bumpers came from Vietnam, which is kind of weird, but hey, you know, you get your parts wherever you can. So it's going to be a multinational car by the time we get done with it, because it's got turn signal switch from Latvia. It's got the tires from Canada. They came from Canada. The rims came from California. The deck lid came from California. The bumpers came from Vietnam. I'm trying to think of what else. I have stuff from different other countries. Nothing's come from Brazil yet, which is weird because they had a manufacturing plant in Brazil that made a lot of aftermarket parts for this, but I don't think I have any yet. So everything's going pretty good so far. Obviously, you've heard a couple times, she starts right up. That was after we tinkered with so when I first put the carburetor on, I got a brand new carburetor, and I put it on, and it would do this weird thing where it would bog, and then it would rev, and then it would bog, and it would rev. Not that fast, but I mean, that was the cycle. It would, you know, it would start bogging down, and you wouldn't even have to hit the pedal, and all of a sudden it would start gaining, and it would rev, and then you'd have to smack the pedal to like reset it, and it would go down, and it would idle for a minute, then it would slowly bog down, and it would rev again. So, and it would do that while you were driving too, while you were like idling at a stoplight. And another thing is the first quarter of the pedal, no matter what gear you were in, would bog instead of accelerate. So like you'd be shifting from first to second or second to third, and as soon as you let off the clutch and give it a little gas, it would blow, and you'd end up pushing harder on the gas, and then all of a sudden it would catch up with itself, and it would be revving. So it was really hard to drive. It was a real pain in the neck. So I consulted with some internet forums and some friends, and learned that it needed to be rejetted. So I got some new jets. I took the carburetor back off. I cleaned it really well because it had some gunk in the bowl, which I have all that on video too. So once I cleaned the bowl out and put the new jets in, it's running great. I mean, there's no more lag in the pedal, or bog in the pedal. There's always lag because it's carbureted. But there's no more issues like we're having. It idles beautifully. Like I could, start it, make sure we're... idles like a champ. But we don't want to leave here yet, because I want to get out and take some pictures because I love this little area. But anyway, that's the catch up right now. I own this car. This is not one we're borrowing like I usually do in my drive around videos. This one's mine. I own it, and I'm gonna have some fun with it, and hopefully you guys will join me with it. Thanks for listening to my rambling session. If you're keeping up with the vlogs for the weight loss thing, I'm still losing. Those are gonna keep coming every week, and thanks for joining me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Enjoy the driving montage. Bye.